Guys, I'm Jerry Miller. Thank you kindly for joining us on the I Love CVille Show. It's great to connect with you guys through the I Love CVille Network. If you did not catch Real Talk with Keith Smith this morning, first, Keith Smith out of town in Connecticut with his grandchildren. He's also doing a bicycling race for charity tomorrow. But in his steed, Ned Gallaway and Diantha McKeel. Supervisor McKeel, this is her grand finale on the Albemarle County Board of Supervisors. Ned Gallaway broke some news this morning on the I Love CVille Network. His pursuit for a third term is now official. We will play a sizzle reel from this morning's talk show for you this afternoon, as Supervisor Gallaway has officially said on the record that he will run for a third term. That breaking news in a matter of moments here on the I Love CVille Show. I want to talk about the protests yesterday in front of the Federal Executive Institute. The estimate has been somewhere between 30 and 50 people at the protest. Not much bang for your buck for a protest that was planned well in advance. Furthermore, as predicted on the I Love CVille Show all week long, Barracks Road Shopping Center had security in play to prevent protesters from parking in Barracks Road Shopping Center illegally. Security was watching with an eye of an eagle to prevent protesters from parking in the publicly traded Federal Realty's Barracks Road Shopping Center lot and walk down the street to protest the 14-acre, 90,000 plus square feet of building space, hand-me-down, reneging gift from Charlottesville Public Schools to the University of Virginia. I want to unpack this story, and hopefully this story we're done with after the I Love CVille Show covers it this week. I see that TV, radio, and print are watching the show. Perhaps it's we're to blame for keeping the story in the news cycle. When 30 to 50 people show up for protest, that's weak sauce, man. That is super weak sauce. And when the leverage point, this was in the article in the Daily Progress today, the head of the teachers union said there's 32 UVA students that come to Charlottesville Public Schools to log class hours on their way to a UVA degree. The teachers union is threatening the University of Virginia by saying these 32 students can't come to our schools anymore to log class hours. Give me a break. 32 students, that's small potatoes. That is super small potatoes. That's akin to what my 2.5-year-old eats on his plate compared to what I eat on my plate. Small potatoes, small pile of broccoli, small pile of steak. We'll talk about that on the I Love CVille Show. The school board has written a letter to the editor, and the tone and the approach the school board has taken throughout all this has been significantly more professional and significantly more strategic and significantly more well thought out than the tone and the tempo the teachers union has taken. I want to talk on today's show, ladies and gentlemen, the Jack Jouett District Albemarle County Board of Supervisors race between David Shreve and Sally Duncan. I will explain to you why this race is a bellwether for Albemarle County. It is a bellwether, folks. If Sally Duncan is elected to the Jack Jouett seat, we have a county in totality that is much more pro-housing. If Dave Shreve is elected to the Jack Jouett seat, we have a county as a whole that's much more cautious of housing and much more focused on infrastructure before housing. Taxes is going to play a big part of this. And I'm going to ask the question, Livable Charlottesville, the activist group in the city of Charlottesville that pushed the new zoning ordinance through, Livable Charlottesville is going balls to the wall for Sally Duncan. Is that support going to help or hurt the Jack Jouett candidate, Sally Duncan? I want to talk about that on today's show. We're going to break down the 2025 UVA class by the numbers. A couple of wet the whistle numbers for you The 2025 class of the University of Virginia, 7,988 total degrees. 4,655 are undergraduate degrees. The remaining are graduate degrees. The University of Virginia is overwhelmingly, with its undergraduate degrees, arts and science. 2,793 arts and science degrees, 398 commerce degrees, 838 engineering degrees. Only 83 continuing and professional study degrees, only 92 architectural degrees. We'll break down these numbers, including the fact that Virginians come from 80 of the state's 95 counties and 35 of the state's 39 cities. We'll talk about that today. Do you have the Albemarle County Magisterial map? Can you put that on screen? Let's wet the whistle. Look at the map. Give me a thumbs up when this is on screen. Albemarle County is the 6th largest county in the Commonwealth of Virginia, the 6th. Here's the magisterial map of Albemarle County broken down by district. There are 6 districts. The orange is the Whitehall district. The pink is the Scottsville district. The purple, the Samuel Miller district. The blue, the Rivanna district. The yellow, the Rio. And the green, the Jack Jouett. The first thing that's going to strike you on looking at these maps is, hey, they're not even in size. Well, they're not supposed to be. It's not broken down by land mass or square miles. It's broken down by density. So it tells you that the green district, the Jack Jouett, and the yellow district, the Rio, which are the smallest, are the most densely populated, the most in the urban ring. That's why they're the smallest. The Samuel Miller district is overwhelmingly the largest. It also has the smallest population. It also has the most wealth. I learned these facts today from Diantha McKeel, the outgoing Albemarle County Board of Supervisor. I also learned from Diantha McKeel that the Samuel Miller district, which is the largest district in Albemarle County, magisterial district, the Samuel Miller district, is also shrinking in population. So there's some talk that the Samuel Miller district will increase in size. You still have the map on screen? The purple district will increase in size to help equalize its population with its 5 neighboring districts. You have to ask yourself, is it good for Albemarle County to have one district so large, one district that may actually increase in size, one district that is the wealthiest district of the 6? I want to talk about that on today's show. I also want to highlight, ladies and gentlemen, your questions, your comments, your concerns, as the show is the water cooler of conversation, the I Love CVille Show. Judah, studio camera, then a 2-shot. I want to ask you which headline you find most intriguing and why. We'll give some props to Charlottesville Sanitary Supply and Charlottesville Business Brokers following your insight. It's Friday. It's payday. And there's no day that Judah enjoys more than a payday Friday. Look at that smile over there. It's like a Cheshire cat with a sleeve of Ritz crackers and a tin of Cheese Whiz next to him.
I think you're projecting.
I do like Ritz crackers and Cheese Whiz.
And projecting.
Do you not like Cheese Whiz and Ritz crackers?
I don't know that I'm a fan of Cheese Whiz.
What would be a better comparison for you as you smile ear to ear?
I mean, if we're going for crackers and cheese, I just go.
It doesn't have to be crackers and cheese. Specific to Judah. Huh. For me, it would be like a glass jar of Reese's peanut butter cups. Few things get me to smile ear to ear, or maybe a fridge of ice cold IPAs.
I think our viewers already know my love of goobers.
Judah gets ear-to-ear smile when he has a pile of goobers in front of him, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, yeah.
Pile of goobers. Which headline most intrigued you and why?
I'm interested in the discussion of what UVA could do or perhaps should do to extend an olive branch to the city, despite the fact that I think we've clearly shown that the UVA, we don't have proof, but it doesn't seem like UVA was doing any of this to spite Charlottesville
UVA
or the school system.
Look, we've held UVA accountable for so many different reasons and across so many different circumstances.
We'll continue to.
And we have shown that the University of Virginia has shown so poor judgment in so many realms of decision making. And we, as Judah just said, will continue to hold the University of Virginia accountable.
Yeah.
But in the particular circumstance of the Federal Executive Institute, none of the doo-doo, none of the stink should fall on the University of Virginia.
Yeah.
None of it should stick to the University of Virginia here. UVA initially tried to go in with a joint application with city schools for the Federal Executive Institute.
Until they found out they couldn't.
Then they found out they couldn't.
And then they sent their application with essentially a, hey, this should go to the Charlottesville city schools. And I mean, I haven't seen proof of that, so that's we can say it's hearsay. But whether they did or didn't, now there are people saying that UVA went behind the scenes and used their political clout or whatever clout to force the changed decision.
That's a narrative that's being pushed by the president of the teacher union, Shannon Gillikin.
But there's
She
no
pushed
proof
it
of that
in
either.
the Daily Progress today and has pushed it on her social media. This is a president of a teacher union that's pushing that narrative.
And
These are facts, people.
I did not go to UVA. I don't care about UVA. I appreciate the fact that Charlottesville would not be Charlottesville without them. But I still think they take a great many liberties. And, I don't think they have to do anything.
Oh, they don't have to do a damn thing.
But I think it would go a long way for them to find a way to extend an olive branch. And I would be very interested in hearing a discussion on what people think that olive branch should be.
Viewers and listeners, let us know your thoughts. Put them in the feed. We'll relay them live on air. The president of the teacher union organized a protest yesterday at the Federal Executive Institute. The protest flopped. 30 to 50 people showed up for the protest.
Mm-hmm.
That's a paltry sum. In the flyer to organize the protest, where language UVA steals from children was utilized, the protest flyer encouraged participants to park illegally in Barracks Road Shopping Center. It was circulated far and wide. I speculated yesterday, I speculated on Wednesday, and I speculated on Tuesday, would Barracks Road Shopping Center, which is a publicly traded owned by a publicly traded company, Federal Realty. It's owned by Federal Realty. They own Class A shopping centers everywhere. Would Federal Realty respond in an aggressive manner that would keep protesters from parking illegally? And ladies and gentlemen, lo and behold, the prediction was right. They had gatekeepers monitoring the parking lot at Barracks Road Shopping Center, security, preventing protesters from parking there illegally to then walk down the street to the Federal Executive Institute. Perhaps that limited participation. Perhaps the fact that the protest is just plain dumb. You're protesting a building that the University of Virginia had no sway or influence in determining where it went. Maybe the protest was just plain dumb. We'll talk about this on the I Love CVille show. First, I want to give some props to Charlottesville Sanitary Supply, 60 consecutive plus years in business. John Vermillion, Andrew Vermillion, Charlottesville Sanitary Supply on East High Street and online at charlottesvillesanitarysupply.com. Doing business the right way, the honest way, the communicative way. Charlottesville Sanitary Supply. We'll talk on today's program the olive branch that Judah mentioned. We'll talk on today's program the fact that the teachers union is saying we are not going to welcome UVA students into our classrooms so they can log hours, so they can earn a degree from UVA if we don't get this building. If UVA doesn't pull this application to help us get it. We found out in today's newspaper, Shannon Gillikin offered the intel herself that only 32 UVA students log hours at Charlottesville Public Schools. Only 32. A number so small that 32 barely allows you to field a high school football team. I'm quite confident that those 32 UVA students will head to other schools if the teacher union is in fact adamant that they won't allow them in Charlottesville classrooms. I'd be curious to hear what the school board and superintendent Dr. Royale Gurley says about his teacher union leveraging student-teacher positions in a media fight. I would bet you the school board and the Dr. Royale superintendent office and his lieutenants would say, no, that's not actually true. These people are speaking out on one side of their mouth and don't have the power to back it up. Okay, we'll talk about that on today's show. We'll welcome your comments on the Friday edition of the I Love CVille show. But first, we start with some breaking news, Judah. Ned Gallaway and Diantha McKeel on the Friday edition of Real Talk with Keith Smith. Keith Smith out of market with his grandchildren, but we had breaking news on the show. Do we have that sound ready to go? Mm-hmm. Here's Ned Gallaway, 2 terms in Rio District, Albemarle County Board of Supervisors. We asked him, will you officially run for a 3rd term? There's been no official statement. Here's what Ned Gallaway had to say. Breaking news that you will see in legacy media after it airs on this network today. Ned Gallaway's answer on whether he will seek a 3rd term. Judah Wickower, 3, 2, 1. Can we say pursuing another term? Can I say that?
I will officially tell you now I'm running for re-election.
Okay.
I have dodged that question. It's not a secret, I don't think, at this point, but I've not done an official announcement.
We should have done a drum roll.
Why don't we take a moment here? Ned Gallaway, will you want to make a statement here?
I'm simply stating that this will be my run for a 3rd term for the Rio District seat. I'm looking forward to it, and I hope the voters of the district will give me that opportunity to serve again. Still got plenty of things I'd like to do on my to-do list as a supervisor, but at this point I've attended a candidate forum as a candidate. I've said that I've just not done any sort of big press release or some of the stuff you do to roll it out, but you know what? This is a great place to be able to announce officially that I am running for re-election.
Okay.
And after all,
That's breaking news right there from the I Love CVille Network. Ned Gallaway, Rio District Supervisor, will seek a 3rd term. Currently, no competition in the Rio District for Ned Gallaway, who is one of the good guys. I hope Supervisor Gallaway hears this, and I think Supervisor Gallaway already knows this. While our politics do not align and we do not see eye to eye on everything, we do see eye to eye on some things. Regardless, I respect the man. I find the man to be a man of thought, who cares deeply of constituents and voters in Albemarle County.
Yeah.
And from his viewpoint and his politics, wants what is best for Albemarle County.
Yeah, I certainly appreciate his expertise, his knowledge.
He has good intentions.
And his desire to work for us and to work with the other counselors. Supervisors. Now,
I will say this. This will be 3 straight terms. I believe each term, no competition in his first 2 races. Now the 3rd race, no competition. Okay? He would be the first to say having competitive races is good for the county. Mm-hmm. Okay? And I had this conversation before and after the show with Diantha McKeel and Ned Gallaway this morning, that this election cycle is a pretty significant one for Albemarle County. Why it's significant is you have 3 of 6 board seats that are up for election. You have the Rio District, the Jack Jouett District, and the Samuel Miller District. The Rio District right now has no competition, but the other 2 districts do have competitive races. The Samuel Miller District has actually a Republican running, and Scott Smith. There's a Democrat running in Fred Missel, who has ties to the University of Virginia, works for the University of Virginia, and a businessman in Scott Smith running as a Republican, Missel running as a Democrat. The Jack Jouett race is a significant race for Albemarle County. You have 2 Democrats running, folks. So the primary will determine the outcome of the Jack Jouett district. Sally Duncan against Dave Shreve. And you have a candidate that is from the jump in Sally Duncan that is adamant about more housing density and adamant about utilizing tax dollars and potentially increasing tax rates to fund housing in Albemarle County. The antithesis of Sally Duncan's stance on more density and funding using tax dollars to fund density and housing is David Shreve. David Shreve is very much an infrastructure guy first, a population control guy, David Shreve. David Shreve is a guy that has already said that utilizing tax dollars or incrementally increasing taxes to fund housing is a oxymoron, if you may. Maybe oxymoron's not the best description. Could be potentially damning for the county because it's only going to gentrify the county faster. He would say that. Okay, this Jack Jouett race is a bellwether for Albemarle County in totality. Will you see this Jack Jouett race go Sally Duncan's way or Dave Shreve's way? And that outcome, Duncan or Shreve, will tell you a lot of the appetite or the ideology of voters in Albemarle County. Are voters and ideologies in Albemarle County overwhelmingly and supportive of housing and more population density? Are voters in Albemarle County committed to green space, population control, keeping the development area at 5%? There's now conversation that's percolating about the 5% development area, not necessarily expanding it, but making trades for the development area. Like my old neighborhood, Glenmore. That Glenmore neighborhood strategized, organized, and galvanized to prevent extra housing to come outside the gates of Glenmore at Breezy Hill, a southern development project. Charlie Armstrong and Frank Bailiff. I was in those rooms. I watched some of the smartest people out there, retirees that had deep pockets, put a plan in place to kill a development called Breezy Hill on what it was going to be in full capacity. They utilize buzzwords like fire and rescue, infrastructure, roads, traffic, water, infrastructure strain to kill a neighborhood development called Breezy Hill outside the gates of Glenmore. And as a result, the Rivanna Village, that area right around Glenmore in the Keswick area, which, ladies and gentlemen, is in the Scottsville district. The Scottsville district has 3 voting blocks: the Glenmore neighborhood, the Mill Creek neighborhood, and the town of Scottsville neighborhood. That Glenmore neighborhood kiboshed the Rivanna Village and its true capacity of what the comprehensive plan said it should look like. And Mike Pruitt, who won the Scottsville district race, unopposed he ran. He ran unopposed, Mike Pruitt, for the Scottsville district. He is now pushing that there should be some trades for the development area. With the Rivanna Village not being at full capacity, we should trade out the Rivanna Village in that 5%, say it's not part of that 5% development area, and bring another 5% in. Supervisors are saying, look at Biscuit Run. What is it, 400 acres, Biscuit Run? The Commonwealth of Virginia gave very important, wealthy, and influential people, Hunter Craig, Corin Capshaw, members of the Dave Matthews Band, were the money behind Biscuit Run. And at one time, Biscuit Run was going to be an extremely densely populated housing development. This is kind of down Avon Extended and 5th Street Extended, where Biscuit Run is. And this was going to be an extremely dense housing development. But they were going to bring it to market at the time of the housing crash, 2008, 2009, 2010. And as a result, because of their influence, their power, and the clout, the money behind Biscuit Run went to the Commonwealth and got it basically converted into a park for tax credits to keep them from being on the hook of a development that was going to come online at the worst time possible. And because this development was converted from housing development into park, a boatload of acreage in the development area was cannibalized, was put on ice. So they're talking these trades. It's like when I was in elementary school where I would trade like a Barry Bonds rookie card for a Sammy Sosa rookie card, or a Ryan Sandberg rookie card for a Lenny Dykstra rookie card. I would trade a Larry Chipper Jones rookie card for an Ozzie Smith rookie card. They're talking about making trades in the development area. Mm-hmm. You have a time in Albemarle County where the dynamic of the board could change dramatically here. Michael Pruitt is unabashed in his stance for housing. He is a housing advocate, over-the-top housing. Sally Duncan is over-the-top, unabashed for her stance with housing and density, affordability, upticking population. That's two. Supervisor Gallaway is in that camp as well. He's in that camp. Ann Malik's not in that camp. B. Lepisto Kirtley is not in that camp. Jim Andrews is not in that camp, but he's getting off the board. I'm very curious to see what Fred Missel's stance is in the Samuel Miller district. I know his competition, the Republican Scott Smith, is not in that camp. So are you at a time at the end of 2025 where you could see a Sally Duncan, Mike Pruitt, and a Ned Gallaway, 3 votes with 3 on the opposite side? And a board that's torn over housing and taxes and density in the county? That's why this is such a monumental race, viewers and listeners. Monumental election cycle. And then I got this question for you. You ready for this? And this is a question for Judah. This is a question for you, viewers and listeners. The advocacy and activist group from the city of Charlottesville, Livable CVille, who is the driver of the new zoning ordinance in Charlottesville that has flopped until this point. It's been stuck in lawsuit quicksand, the new zoning ordinance. They're overwhelmingly backing and supporting Sally Duncan. Judah, is that going to help Sally Duncan, or is that going to hurt Sally Duncan and her bid to be a supervisor? I'm curious of your take as an Albemarle County voter.
Oh, man. I think with the outcome of the protest, is it really going to matter? Are enough people going to be swayed by that support for it even to make a dent? I honestly don't know.
Well, that's why people listen, is for your opinion.
I mean, I don't really care much for Livable CVille, one way or the other. I'm not saying I dislike them. I just don't care one way or the other. And so I'll be looking more at the individual candidates, and not their support systems. So it's not going to help in the case of my vote.
I would caution the viewers and listeners. I would caution taxpayers and voters that watch and listen to this show. This activist and advocacy group, Livable CVille, has caused so much policy dysfunction in Charlottesville City. So much policy dysfunction. They pushed this zoning, one of the most radical zoning in all of the country, forward. They bullied council, they pressured council, and council bent over and took it.
That's more on council, though. I understand what you're saying.
It's not. Council serves at the bequests of taxpayers and voters. Yeah. And to Livable CVille's credit, they show up, they're organized, and they're loud.
Yeah.
Okay? So council listened. But what they listened to has backfired on them. Nothing has materialized. And I would encourage voters and taxpayers in Albemarle County to be very careful, because this is the hand-picked candidate. The hand-picked candidate, Sally Duncan. Very careful. Bill McChesney says if he had a vote, that would absolutely turn him away, having that advocacy group support a candidate.
It's fair.
Absolutely you would. Barbara Becker-Tilley, welcome to the show. Vanessa Parkhill, Logan Wells Clayla, welcome to the program. Lauren and Ivy, Richard Fox, Kevin Yancey, welcome to the program. Viewers and listeners, let us know your thoughts. David Riddick, curious of your thoughts. Carol Thorpe, Colleen Tyler, curious of your thoughts. Jason Noble, curious of your thoughts. This is an election year that's very important, folks. And Judah brought up the protests yesterday at the Federal Executive Institute as you're putting the right lower thirds on screen.
Which one do you want?
50 protesters at the Federal Executive Institute, and should UVA extend an olive branch? University of Virginia should wait to extend the olive branch. If the University of Virginia extends the olive branch now to city schools,
right,
then protesters will say, we got this.
We did it.
We got this olive branch because of what we did.
Mm-hmm.
And if the University of Virginia wanted to negotiate intelligently, they would not offer the olive branch anytime now. They would wait a time where no one could say this advocacy or this activism tied to the Federal Executive Institute encouraged us to do this. Mm-hmm. Because if the University of Virginia and Jim Ryan and the Board of Visitors, listen to me, if they offer the olive branch now, then the next thing that will be ramrodded down your throat is a pilot program, increased living wage, and don't get me wrong, I think an increased living wage should happen at the University of Virginia. I think the University of Virginia should do a payment in lieu of taxes. They should absolutely be offering a chunk of money to the city in Albemarle County.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They should be contributing to transportation and infrastructure projects, especially around the university and gateways of the university. Absolutely, they should. They should be doing more for housing affordability. But I just want to talk the science of negotiation. If you cave to pressure and perception now, then that pressure and perception will only snowball and gain more momentum against you. That's just how it works. Mm-hmm. And I want to finish the Federal Executive Institute topic. Okay? Hopefully this is behind us. If the University of Virginia had not have submitted an application for the Federal Executive Institute, this building, this primo piece of property, could have been allocated to another group altogether.
Yeah.
It may not have gone to the city schools nor the University of Virginia. It could have gone to something else. And this could catch me some heat. That could have been an epicenter for the homeless, the Federal Executive Institute. And I cannot think of I take that back. I can think of many worse positions for an epicenter for the homeless than 14 acres between Stonefield and Barracks Road Shopping Center. There's many spots worse than that, but that's not a great spot for it. So UVA had to submit an application to hedge risk and exposure from some unknown third or fourth party potentially acquiring one of the most marquee positions in our area. Mm-hmm. I hope this is the last we hear of this.
It won't.
Part of me thinks that's not going to be the case.
A big part of you.
Anything you want to add, Judah Wickhauer?
No.
Bill McChesney, you have seen my opinion. I believe the UVA School of Education should create an early childhood education center that would allow students from Charlottesville and Albemarle and perhaps other surrounding counties to get superior preschool experiences. John Blair says this. I spoke with an Albemarle County teacher last night. Obviously, they do not work for the city, but they had the following comment about the federal executive situation. It's completely wrong to refuse to help student teachers get their required hours. They said that everyone in school is trying to start their careers. Maybe most of them will become good teachers. It just seems horrible, in their opinion, to make starting a teacher career that much harder by having to commute over the mountain or up to Madison or Orange or Greene County. It's a great point by John Blair.
Very good point.
I will caution the Charlottesville City Teachers Union. First off, you're negotiating with crumbs. The leverage you have in this negotiation is 32, the president of the teachers union's words in today's Daily Progress.
I wouldn't even call it leverage. It's
32 positions 32 spots that you can welcome UVA students into your classroom. 32. That's not leverage. That is not leverage. That's a threat so empty, when UVA heard it, they laughed in the face of the teacher union. That's how empty that threat is. 32 positions is not leverage. Second, I doubt the teachers union even has the autonomy to speak for the school system and say, we're not going to welcome these 32 kids into the school system so they can log some hours. Dr. Royale Gurley, does the teacher union have that autonomy? Superintendent Gurley, I'm talking to you here. Does the teacher union have the autonomy, Superintendent Gurley, to speak for your entire school system and say that these 32 kids from UVA cannot learn or log hours in your classrooms? Why haven't you commented on this, Dr. Gurley? Why hasn't the school board commented on this? Why haven't they commented? The teacher union doesn't have that power. Third, let's say the teacher union does have the power to limit 32 UVA students from logging hours in a classroom. Let's say they do, hypothetically, right? Isn't that just going to water down the school, Charlottesville schools, even more, and strengthen the surrounding schools, Albemarle County, or the private schools? Wouldn't fourth years, third years, or graduate students at UVA, any student that's a University of Virginia student, going into a classroom and working with kids, wouldn't that be to the betterment of the kids in that classroom? One of the kids at one of the best education institutes of higher learning, the University of Virginia in the nation, are coming to your classroom and working for free with a sense of over-eagerness, with a sense of not being jaded, with a sense of wanting to work hard because they're new to the profession, willing to work for free. Wouldn't you roll out the red carpet for these 32 UVA students?
Yeah.
And why risk them going to private schools to further the educational divide? Wouldn't they just end up at St. Anne's or Covenant or Albemarle County or Western Albemarle, widening the divide of education in Central Virginia, in Charlottesville and Albemarle? I don't want to hear about this anymore from the teacher union. The position they've done here with a protest of 30 to 50 people, the position they've done here where they told their protesters to park illegally in Barracks Road Shopping Center, only to have security at Barracks Road Shopping Center keep them from doing that and watch them with an eagle eye. The thing that they're doing here, trying to negotiate 32 UVA students from learning in their classrooms when they don't have the power or autonomy to do it, when they know openly that they'll water down education at Charlottesville Public Schools, hurting their students specifically. The thing that they're doing here, where they're basically saying, UVA, give us this building, when it literally says, Jim Ryan wrote a letter to Dr. Gurley, we have a 30-year commitment here. If we get this building, we're committed to this for 30 years. It's part of the contract. We can't give it to you.
And they don't even have it yet.
They don't even have it yet. And the fact that this could have gone to another party.
And it still can.
And it still can. Stop it, teacher union.
What is it, the GSU?
Yeah.
They have 30 days from some date, some point, to to renege again if they want to.
Stop it, teacher union. This is not a fight you want to fight. The fight that you want to fight is improved compensation, improved benefits, improved perk, improved professional quality of life. What's best for your students. That's the fight you want to fight. You don't want to die in a mountain that's a losing fight. And that's what you're doing here. Custard's last stand.
Did you say custard?
Custard's last stand, the teachers union dying on this mountain. Anything you want to add?
I really like Custard's last stand.
Why do you like the Custard's last stand?
It's funny. It's whether it was intentional or not.
Of course it was intentional.
Okay.
What was not intentional about that?
I don't know. I love it.
John says, the unspoken factor in the Shreve-Duncan race is that it's a Democratic primary. I think Shreve probably appeals to more conservative voters. Some of those voters will not vote in a Democratic primary. Primaries do tend to favor the more liberal candidates for D's and the more conservative candidates for R's. I'm very curious if someone got in Dave Shreve's ear and said, Dave, maybe you should run as an independent. John, I have this question for you. I think I know the answer. If Sally Duncan beats Dave Shreve in the Democratic primary, could Dave then run as an independent?
Interesting.
Because I agree that Shreve's ideology and platform align with the old guard of Albemarle. It's so funny. The Democratic Party in Charlottesville and in Albemarle County is so vast with its ideology. You have progressive Democrats from a housing standpoint that are overwhelming density, overwhelming taxes, overwhelming anything to create housing affordability. But then you have OG old guard Democrats that are more center aisle, that don't want strain on infrastructure, are sick and tired of a lack of green space. Studio camera, or Market Street camera. Did you get it?
Barely.
Did you get Lloyd?
Barely.
That's a perfect example of Lloyd Snook walking down Market Street. Did you get him? He's a center aisle Democrat, where Michael Payne on council is a socialist progressive Democrat. They're all D's, but they're not close in ideology. Shreve and Duncan are a perfect example of this. If you want green space, if you're tired of density, if you're tired of traffic, Shreve's your guy. If you're tired of tax increases, Shreve's your guy. If you want tax increases to create density and housing and are unafraid of traffic and willing to navigate it, then Duncan's your gal. John says he would have to run as a write-in. He cannot run as an independent. He would have to run as a write-in candidate. And if he runs as a write-in candidate, he's got no chance of winning. So his name would not be on the ballot. Did Dave Shreve make a mistake running as a Democrat and getting stuck in a primary against Sally Duncan? Should Shreve has run as an independent, which would have given him more time throughout the whole year to get his platform out to voters and listeners? Or did Shreve say historical data suggests that if I don't run with a D next to my name, I have no chance of winning? That's the scales of justice this dude is having to navigate. If I don't run with a D, the last 3 or 4 election cycles, the last Republican was Ken Boyd. If I don't run with a D, I have no chance of winning, the last generation of elections in Albemarle County suggest. Or do I run as an independent, give myself all of 2025 to get my platform out there, so come November, voters could be like, oh, this guy's against no tax increases. This guy's against no density increases. This guy's against no more housing, but a prioritization on infrastructure. It was very interesting to watch Supervisor McKeel on Real Talk with Keith Smith this morning emphasize his employer. 4 times she emphasized it on Real Talk with Keith Smith. That was a very politically correct way for her to say, look at who he's working for. All right. 121 here on the Friday edition of Real Talk of the I Love CVille Show. Kate Schartz, welcome to the show. Kate Schartz, are you Samuel Miller District or Jack Jouett District? Out of curiosity, is your neighborhood Samuel Miller District or Jack Jouett District? All right. I'll get to viewers and listeners' comments here in a matter of moments. Put the UVA headline on screen. UVA will bestow 7,988 degrees this weekend, Judah. 7,988. Of those, 4,655 are baccalaureate degrees. The remainder are graduate degrees. The College and Graduate School of Arts and Sciences, which is UVA's largest school, will offer the most amount of degrees. Nearly 450 graduate degrees are professional diplomas in law or medicine. Wow. The School of Data Science is awarding 142 graduates. The Darden School of Business is awarding 532 certificates. 67% of undergraduate degree earners in the class of 2025 are from the Commonwealth. This is all information you can find on news.virginia.edu. 67% of undergraduate degree earners in the class of 2025 are from Virginia. That means 33%, Judah, are from out of state. More than 1,100 graduates are first-generation college students. Good for them. 502 of that 1,100 are from the Commonwealth. The youngest member of the class of 2025 is 18 years old. Man, 18 years old. Goodness gracious. The oldest member of the class is 80 years old. 9 undergraduate students are graduating in 2 years or less.
Wow.
9. More than 250 undergraduates will earn their degrees in 3 years or less. Here are the top 5 degrees by numbers. Economics, which is from the College and Graduate School of Arts and Sciences, overwhelmingly number 1. Business Administration, the Darden School of Business is 2. Commerce, the McIntyre School of Commerce is 3. Computer Science, College and Graduate School of Art and Science is 4. And School of Law is 5. And UVA is very much making an emphasis of not bringing balloons to graduation. They will be confiscated if you bring your balloons to graduation.
That's good.
I like it too. Because, the balloons, when they get let go,
they go somewhere and they come down somewhere.
And they hurt animals.
And it's just plastic waste.
It's litter.
Not to mention there's a limited amount of helium in the world, so please, people, conserve.
I'm worried about the baby birds.
Conserve helium.
The baby birds getting fed by mama bird in the nest, and mistakenly mama bird giving baby bird a piece of the balloon. The baby bird would choke. Give the baby birds the broken down worm pieces. Don't give the baby birds the broken down balloon pieces. That's how the baby birds die. I don't want the baby birds to die. Don't hurt the baby birds. Judah's worried about the helium in the world. I'm worried about the baby birds. You've been sucking down enough helium to talk like Mickey Mouse for most of your life, haven't you?
I'd like to say yes, I have, but no, I don't know that I've inhaled a whole lot of helium in the world.
You hitting that cracker to catch that rush?
What's that?
Nothing. That's a PG-13R reference right there. All right. Put the magisterial districts of Albemarle County on screen. I learned from Diantha McKeel today on the show. First off, this is the final year of a 28-year term. No, 4 terms, 28 total years for Diantha on the Board of Supervisors.
3.
Is that right? I got it wrong. I said it wrong the last time. Did she correct me?
She
All
did.
Right, I'm going to CVillepedia.
I think she said it was 4 school board terms, 3 Board of Supervisors terms.
You're right. You're totally right. Thank you. I should have listened to Diantha. 4 terms on the school board. 3 terms on the Board of Supervisors. 4 terms on the school board and 3 terms on the Board of Supervisors. Good night. That is a lot of service.
Yeah.
While we don't always agree on politics, I will commend her on 4 terms on the school board and 3 terms on the Board of Supervisors.
No doubt.
That's someone that cares deeply about Albemarle County, because you're not doing this for the money.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Is that not amazing? She was elected to the school board in 1997. And then in 2001, 2005, and 2009. Then supervisor in 2013, 17, and 21. She's been an elected official for the last 28 years.
Yeah.
You got the magisterial map on screen?
Yep.
Look at the screen. This is what I learned from her today. The purple on that map, if you're looking at the screen, is the Samuel Miller District. It's the largest district in Albemarle County by far. Albemarle County is the 6th largest county in Virginia, and it's broken down into 6 magisterial districts. The purple one is Samuel Miller. The orange one is Whitehall. The pink one is Scottsville. The yellow one is Rio, and the green one is Jack Jouett. The reason the green one and the yellow one are so small is the districts are broken down by population.
Yeah.
And the idea is to have even population in each district. So Albemarle County is what, 114,000 people? Albemarle County population? About 114, 115,000 people? Let's say 115,000 people. Take 115,000 divided by 6. Your goal is to have about 19,000 people in each district. So it shows you the density in the green and yellow, that an area that small has the population of the area of the purple, the Samuel Miller District.
Yeah.
I also learned from Diantha McKeel this. The purple district, the Samuel Miller District, is losing population. It has the smallest population, and the population it's losing. And I said to her, and I knew this answer, but I wanted to hear from the supervisor. I said, why does the Samuel Miller District have the smallest population? She said, because it's the wealthiest population. And then she looked at me, she's smart. She goes, now, why is it the smallest with the wealthiest? I said, well, when it's the wealthiest, they have the largest plots of land because they're the wealthiest, so they have the biggest acreage. They have the biggest parcels. And because they have the biggest acreage and the biggest parcels, there's the least amount of density.
Yeah. More
So
space between you and your neighbor.
More space between you and your neighbor.
Less space for more people.
Exactly right. So we got to talking about this. The Samuel Miller District is the wealthiest, the largest, and the smallest population. And there's talk now of expanding the Samuel Miller District, taking from other districts to make the population even across all 6. The conversation was, is there concern that the Samuel Miller District, if you look at that map, would you say that's a third of the map? Would you say that's a third? Damn near close to a third of the district, right? The whole map, right? The whole county?
Yeah, it's got to be pretty close.
Pretty close to a third. There's concern that making the wealthiest district with the smallest population even larger.
Yeah.
There's concern.
It's not going to change their vote. I mean, they're equalizing the populations, right?
You can make an argument that the wealthy voters or the wealthy have from time to time more power.
Yeah.
Right?
From time to time.
Found that fascinating. The 6 districts, Samuel Miller, Scottsville, Whitehall, Rivanna, Rio, and Jack Jouett. And of the districts that are up for election this year, it's the green one, the yellow one, and the purple one. The yellow one has no competition. Ned Gallaway looks like he's going to cruise to his 3rd straight term. The green one has the competition that we're saying could be the bellwether of Albemarle County, Shreve versus Duncan. And the purple one has a Republican challenging a Democrat. Scott Smith, the Republican, against Fred Missel, the Democrat who works for UVA. What a time to be alive in Albemarle County. Goodness gracious, great balls of fire. Judah Wickower, any closing thoughts?
Oh. Get out there and enjoy this beautiful town and this beautiful weather.
Graduation weekend, 40,000 people coming to Charlottesville. 40,000.
I believe there's also going to be another
There's
Tesla
an indivisible
protest
Charlottesville protest
at
Stonefield.
Stonefield again. So I mean, if you want to be a part of those, go ahead. But I'd rather enjoy life and the weather and
Why
this
would
beautiful
somebody,
town that we have
Why
at our
would
disposal.
somebody choose to do a Tesla protest in the shops of Stonefield on graduation weekend? Who in their right mind organizes a protest for a car dealership that is not open yet in graduation weekend? Oh, and by the way, have you seen what Tesla stock has done of late?
I've seen it go up and down and up and down.
It's sizzling. Since Elon Musk said he was going to peace out of the Department of Government Efficiency, and since Trump did the 90-day reprieve on tariffs with China, the Tesla stock is on fire.
Whether or not that's just following the general trend of the S&P, I don't know that I would bet on Tesla on its own without the rest of the
On Monday, it opened at 322. It's at 349 right now. All right, that's all she wrote. Friday edition of the I Love CVille Show. Judah Wickower, Jerry Miller, thank you kindly for joining us. We're back Monday. So long, everybody.